Hello traders, in today's look at fundamental analysis we'll be talking about UK CPI data and some things to keep in mind when trading around this data release. CPI stands for Consumer Price Index, which is made from averaging the change in cost of various consumer goods and services, so it's given in percentages. It's one of the ways of measuring inflation, with a positive number indicating inflation and a negative number deflation. It's released once a month by the Bank of England, or BOE as it's often known. Why the CPI release is important is because it's one of the key data used by the BOE in deciding whether or not to take measures to stabilize the currency. Remember, it's the responsibility of the Bank of England to keep the value of the pound stable within an inflation target that they've set at 1 to 3%. Consequently, in general, if CPI data comes out above expectations, the market is likely to interpret this as supporting the possibility of the BOE will be closer to taking action to curb inflation. This means trading pairs could be expected to go up. On the flip side, if the data misses expectations, this is likely to be seen as a potential for the BOE to be inclined towards actions that would support inflation. This means that the sterling pairs could be expected to drop. You might be thinking, hang on, higher inflation means that the currency is worth less. Why then would the value of the currency go up in relation to others if there's more inflation than expected? Well, that's because the main tool the central bank has to control inflation is to raise interest rates, and this is seen as increasing demand for that particular currency and therefore its value relative to others. Along with the CPI data, the Bank of England also releases RPI, which is the Retail Price Index. While it's calculated using a different method, it still tries to measure the same thing, the level of inflation. RPI data is considered not as important and is often just reinforces the market's view of CPI data. Now, it's quite possible, and it does happen sometimes, that the RPI and CPI data will contradict each other, or one will be in line while the other doesn't match expectations. This leads to a bit of market volatility around this release as traders price in which of the readings is to use as a guide. Typically, you can see swings of up to between 30 to 40 pips, depending on how much the miss is and what kind of expectations there are. And this will happen during the first minutes after the release. That might sound interesting if you like to trade volatility, but if you're shy of erratic market moves, you might want to wait 5 to 10 minutes for the market to process the data. And that's it for UK CPI for now. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your trading.